Most product founders think the reason they're not getting more sales is because they need more visibility, more traffic, more followers, more ads. But what if the real reason you're not getting more sales is because your brand isn't retail ready? And before you panic, let me be clear. This isn't a character flaw. It's not a judgment of you and your business. Not being retail ready just means that you're trying to operate your business with a homemade foundation inside of a professional marketplace. This is actually great news because fixing retail readiness solves sales problems at the root, not the branches. Today, we're walking through the 6 reasons most product businesses aren't getting the sales that they want and how each one connects back to their retail readiness. These are the exact reasons why your sales might feel inconsistent. Your website conversions might be low, and your next product launch isn't solving problems for the business like you hoped it would. Once you understand these 6 areas, you can start solving for the right problem. Reason number 1 is the myth of more. A lot of founders hit a plateau, and they assume that the solution is to add something new, a new scent, a new flavor, a new design, a new collection. And it feels productive, it feels creative, and honestly, feels like progress in the moment, except it usually isn't. Adding more products when your brand isn't retail ready yet is like putting more furniture into a room that's already chaotic and messy. Sure, it gives you something to do, but it doesn't solve the real issue. A retail ready brand starts with a lean, intentional core collection, a handful of products that your brand becomes known for. These are called your hero products. These are the ones that customers come back for. They generate steady, predictable sales, both on retail and the wholesale side of your business. They're not dependent on seasonal hype or flash sales to work. When you build your business around too many products, you create more inventory risk, more operational chaos, more decision fatigue, more confusion for your customer. And a confused customer doesn't buy. Confused retailers definitely don't buy. I once worked with a founder who had 47 different SKUs in her product line, and she believed each one was essential to the success of the business. But when I looked at the numbers, only 15 of them were carrying the business. The rest were creating inventory clutter, production stress, and a product line that looks like it was still trying to figure out its own identity, like it didn't know what it wanted to be yet. Once we focused her business around those top performers, her sales became predictable. Her reorders increased, and her brand finally looked like a brand. Clarity creates momentum. An excessive collection of SKUs just creates noise. Number 2 is cohesion. Do you want to know the one thing that instantly tells a buyer whether a brand is professional or still in hobby mode? It's cohesion, not perfection. Not an editorial photo shoot or a Pinterest-worthy Instagram feed, just cohesion. Your product line should look like it belongs together. If your assortment looks unrelated, you sell in various product categories that don't really make sense together, it's off-putting to retail and wholesale customers. Your product line should be cohesive and intentional. It should be immediately obvious what the one thing you are known for is. It should all look like it came from the same brain, the same studio, the same point of view. If your packaging, for example, looks like it was designed by 3 different people on 3 different days in 3 different moods, you instantly lose credibility and it creates doubt in the mind of buyers about whether or not you're a professional brand. This is especially critical if you're trying to sell wholesale. Wholesale buyers aren't just buying a product, they're buying a story, the story that your brand tells on the shelf. If they don't know what your brand stands for or how to merchandise your products together easily, it will prevent them from buying. It's up to you to make buying from your brand feel easy to them. Like you've already done all of the heavy lifting and they just need to add it to the shelves of their store. This is why cohesion is so powerful. I'm going to hold your hand while I say this, but if your brand feels inconsistent, retailers assume your business operations probably are inconsistent too. And it makes them hesitant to partner with you. Let's make this make sense. Selling bath salts and candles and linen spray together, great. They all belong to the same customers. They fit into the same lifestyle. However, if you're selling bath salts and candles and cutting boards, let's say. Now the buyer's got questions. It's confusing to the brain. They're wondering, is this a lifestyle brand or a kitchen brand? And the moment they start guessing, the moment they hesitate, they move on to a brand who has more clear focus than you do. Cohesion communicates professionalism. Professionalism builds trust. And trust leads to sales, both on the retail and the wholesale side of your business. Reason number 3 is positioning. Positioning is one of the most powerful, yet most misunderstood concepts in product-based businesses. It's not about what you sell. It's about where your products belong in the existing marketplace. Positioning determines whether your customers see your brand as affordable, mid-tier, premium, luxury. You can and should intentionally choose your positioning for both your products and your brand. But if you don't position your products and your brand intentionally, your customers will decide this for you. A lot of brand founders built their brand in a silo or a vacuum, meaning they don't do market research first to see what is already happening in the mainstream marketplace before they launch their products. They skip that step. And when they try to sell wholesale, they might struggle to get sales because of it. Or maybe they go and they try to sell in more professional marketplaces like Amazon or Walmart. They don't get sales because they didn't understand where their products would fit into the larger marketplace before they launched them. They didn't consider their unique selling proposition. A retail-ready brand always does market research first. What products are being sold in your category? At what price point? With what packaging? What's the problem that they're solving? All of those are indicators of positioning. Positioning is also how you communicate value without needing to shout or defend your pricing to your customer. You can simply decide where in the market you want to enter and put the sales assets in place to support that. But you have to be able to convey your unique value proposition to buyers. If your price point is premium, but your packaging and your photography say DIY, the customer doesn't know which message to believe. And when people don't know what to believe, they choose someone else. The next reason is pricing. I'm going to lovingly say this. Your cost of goods does not determine the price of your product. It determines your profitability. Your price is determined by the market. If you used a profitability calculator where you multiply your cost of goods to arrive at a retail and a wholesale price, that is not how the value of a product is determined. Two products can cost the same amount and sell for wildly different prices because customers aren't comparing ingredient lists. They're comparing perceived value. Perceived value comes from your packaging, your photography, the story that your brand tells, your brand's aesthetic, the lifestyle your brand represents, the problem your product solves. This is why an $18 candle and a $42 candle can have a nearly identical cost of goods. People aren't paying for the wax. They're paying for the experience. I want to share the framework I use with clients. Before you assign a price to your product, you need to understand the existing price range in your category. Then, you're going to decide where your product belongs inside that price range. Determine what sales assets you're going to need to have in place in order to command that price point. Then price your products accordingly. From there, you can reverse engineer your cost of goods to ensure profitability at that price. That is where your pricing profitability calculator comes into play, but not until then. If you can't make it profitably, you don't need to raise your price, you need to reevaluate your product. This is what separates brands that scale from brands that struggle. Reason number 5 is your sales tools. Your product is not the first thing that buyers evaluate. Your sales tools are. This includes your packaging, your photography, your catalog, your line sheet, your Shopify listings, your fair page, your merchandising suggestions, your product descriptions, your brand story. If any of these look DIY, incomplete, or unclear, buyers are going to lose confidence, even if the product is excellent. The product won't even matter at that point because no one will ever make it that far. I had a founder who upgraded nothing but her packaging and her listings on Fair. Same formulas, same scents, same production processes, nothing else changed. But her wholesale orders increased drastically because retailers finally trusted the brand. That's the power of professional assets. They indicate to customers, both retail and wholesale, that you're an established brand that can be trusted. Reason number 6 is timing. Wholesale and retail are two different businesses with two different timelines. Wholesale runs on a buying calendar, whereas retail runs on a selling calendar. Most founders run on the I finally finished making this calendar, or I had an exciting new idea calendar, or this seems to be working, so I'm going to sell something also calendar. And then they wonder why no one buys. Wholesale buyers shop at least 6 months ahead. They're planning their shelves and designing a merchandising plan long before the selling season arrives. They place their orders in January and July. So if you present holiday products to them in October, retailers already finished their holiday buying in July. They're done. They've moved on. They're already thinking about spring. A retail-ready brand uses January and July for their wholesale presentations. They time their new product releases around this calendar. Then they release their new collections and seasonal releases for retail customers closer to the actual use season or selling season, because that's when retail customers are buying. So they have one collection with two waves of revenue. This structure alone can double your sales without creating more work in your business. It just requires a little bit of strategic planning. If you're starting to realize that what you thought was a sales problem might actually be a retail readiness problem, you're exactly who my upcoming workshop is meant for. Join me live for Double Your Wholesale and Retail Sales in 2026, where I will walk you through the exact strategy my clients use to become retail ready, strengthen their positioning, and create predictable sales across both the wholesale and the retail side of their business. The link's in the description, so grab your seat. And if you're new here, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next video in this series, where we're going to dig into why DIYing your wholesale strategy is probably costing you sales.